Ready to go.
Let's go then. Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Monday, November 2nd. I'm your host for today's program, Paul Demain. Many of the stories read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryNews.com. Here are the news stories for the day from the Associated Press and other Native news sources. Federal wildlife officials say a second dead grizzly bear that had its claws removed has been found along the Rocky Mountain front in Montana. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's Special Agent Brian Lake said the body of a female grizzly was found October 18th on the Blackfeet Reservation. Lake says the bear was shot and its claws had been removed, prompting concerns that it was connected to the October 1st discovery of another dead grizzly, also found with claws missing in the Lewis and Clark National Forest. Lewis says there's a black market for grizzly claws. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service announced last week that it was offering a $3,000 reward for information leading to the identification and prosecution of those responsible. It is a violation of the Endangered Species Act to kill a grizzly bear. In Ecuador, the Shuar are blocking highways to defend their hunting grounds. In Chile, the Mapuche are occupying ranches to pressure for land, schools, and clinics. In Bolivia, a new constitution gives the country's 36 indigenous peoples the right to self-rule. All over Latin America, and especially in the Andes, a political awakening is emboldening Indians who have lived mostly as second-class citizens since the Spanish conquest. Much of it is the result of better education and communication, especially as the internet allows native leaders in far-flung villages to share ideas and strategies across international boundaries. But much more is born of necessity. Latin American nations are embarking on an unprecedented resource hunt, moving in on land the Indians consider their own and whose pristineness is key to their survival. The Indian movement has arisen because the government doesn't respect our territories. Our resources are Amazon, said Ramula Akachu, president of the Shuar people, flanked by warriors carrying wooden spears and with black war paint smeared on their faces. Last month, the Shuar put up barbed wire roadblocks on highway bridges in Ecuador's southeastern jungles to protest legislation that would allow mines on Indian lands without their prior consent and put water under state control. On September 30th, an Indian school teacher was killed in a battle with riot police. If there are 1,000 dead, they will be good deaths, says another Shuar leader, Rafael Pandam. The Shuar won, at least this round. A week after the killing, President Rafael Correa received about 100 native leaders at the presidential palace and agreed to reconsider the laws. Correa had earlier called the Indians infantile for their insistence on being consulted over mining concessions. But he didn't need to be reminded that natives, a third of the population there, helped topple Ecuadorian governments in both the year 2000 and 2005. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder says the Department of Justice is spending almost $400 million to help tribes reduce violence on their reservations. Holder said last Thursday that the money will go to hire new law enforcement officers, fund domestic violence prevention programs, buy crime-fighting technology and equipment, create sex offender registries, and build and renovate jails and tribal courts on reservations. The money is coming from both economic stimulus funds and the General Department of Justice dollars. Holder made his comments during a conference in St. Paul, Minnesota on public safety issues on American Indian reservations last week. Federal statistics show that American Indians are the victims of violent crime at more than twice the national rate. Montana officials say they are looking for more tribes, private groups, or government agencies interested in taking 50 to 100 bison originally from the Yellowstone National Park. The animals now in government quarantine are part of a program aimed at curbing the number of Yellowstone bison killed over concerns over brucellosis. The quarantined bison have been held for up to 4 years to make sure they are disease-free. A prior attempt to relocate them in Wyoming fell through in the spring. Since then, 3 groups have shown interest: a consortium of zoos, the Fort Belknap Indian Reservation, and former media mogul and Montana rancher Ted Turner. Poor buffalo, they've been looking for a home for them for some time now, and we'd take one if we were allowed to take a buffalo for a pet, but I don't think they let you do that. A shop that sold Native American crafts during Route 66's heyday has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The State Historic Preservation Division says the Acoma Curio shop in San Fidel, New Mexico, was listed on the register because of its association with events that contributed to the broad patterns of history. Interim State Historic Preservation Officer Jan Biella says the shop is associated with its exclusive trade with the Acoma Pueblo. It catered to passing motorists and dealers who specialized in trading Acoma Pueblo goods along Route 66. Lebanese immigrant Abdu H. Fidel built an adobe building in 1916 with a false metal mining front that made the shop a standout. The Curio shop was operated from 1937 until 1941. Today, the building houses an art gallery. Arun Hayes Hearn was chosen during October to travel from Akwesasne Reservation to Greece to escort the Olympic flame from Athens to Canada for the 2010 Winter Games in Vancouver, British Columbia. The 23-year-old teacher and coordinator of the cultural program at the Akwesasne Boys and Girls Club on the St. Regis Mohawk Reservation is one of only 11 Aboriginals selected to be a youth flame attendant and one of the 2 from that group to fly to Greece. The Vancouver Olympic Committee entrusts the custody of the flame to youths who protect and accompany it across the country to the opening ceremonies, where the torch ignites a massive cauldron that burns during the duration of the Games. The 2010 torch relay will be the longest in Olympics history and touch 90% of Canada. Hearn, who is also the youngest person to serve as a sub-chief of the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, has excelled for years in lacrosse and hockey throughout the Haudenosaunee Iroquois Nation and internationally, and is also an assistant coach for the Akwesasne Wolves of the Eastern Ontario Junior Hockey League. And here's the latest proclamation by the President of the United States. It says the indigenous peoples of North America, the first Americans, have woven rich and diverse threads into the tapestry of the nation's heritage. Throughout their long history on this great land, they have faced moments of profound triumph and tragedy alike. During the National Native American Heritage Month, we recognize their many accomplishments, contributions, and sacrifices, and we pay tribute to their participation in all aspects of American society. And the proclamation goes on. It's signed by Barack Obama, President of the United States of America, and he has proclaimed November 2009 as National Native American Heritage Month, and he calls upon all Native Americans to commemorate this month with appropriate programs, activities, and to celebrate November 27th, 2009 as Native American Heritage Day. All right, I like that idea, and that is the latest roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank all of yous from showing up here and keeping an eye on us. Miigwech for joining with us.